G'day everyone, ScottyD here from the Australia's Tabletop Wargame Network, and welcome into our next installment in our series, How to Play Warhammer 40,000, 10th edition. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, today's video is the next installment in our How to Play Warhammer 40,000, 10th edition series, where we're continuing our look at the different ways you can play the game, how to go about constructing army lists, and the core rules of the game as well. And for today, we'll be looking at the rules around strategic reserves and how they work in 10th edition of the game. And so we're just going to be jumping straight into what is the difference between strategic reserves and reserves, as it is actually defined in the core rulebook. Now, there is a difference between regular reserves and strategic reserves. Now, strategic reserves are always considered to be reserves. However, the reverse is not true. So all reserves, unless specifically put into strategic reserve, do not count as strategic reserves. So that's something to bear in mind when you're allocating units to go into reserves. Now, this means that these rules only apply to units that you specifically dedicate to strategic reserves during the declared battle formation step of setting up your games of Warhammer 40,000. Now, the first part of strategic reserves is how to have strategic reserves. We've already kind of touched off on this, is that during your declared battle formation step, you can select one or more units, or if any, to be placed into strategic reserves to allow them to come onto the battlefield during the battle rather than being set up on the table at the start of the game. However, you cannot place fortifications into strategic reserves as well. Now, the total combined points value of all the units that you have placed in strategic reserve is not allowed to be more than 25% of your army for your chosen battle size. So this means that if you're playing an incursion level game of 1,000 points, it can't be more than 250 points. If you're playing a strike force level game, which is 2,000 points, it can't be any more than 500 points. And if you're playing an onslaught level game, then it is 3,000 points, and you can't have any more than 750 points in strategic reserves. The next area of strategic reserves is how they arrive onto the battlefield from strategic reserve. Now, strategic reserves are able to arrive throughout your game during the reinforcement step of your movement phase instead of being deployed onto the battlefield at the start of your game. However, they can't arrive during the first battle round. Now, if there are any strategic reserve units that are not deployed on the battlefield by the end of the game, they are considered to be destroyed. And the final part for strategic reserves, how to actually go about setting them up onto the battlefield. Now, when you go to set up a strategic reserve unit, how you set them up is actually dependent on the battle round that you are bringing on in. So when you are setting them up during the second battle round for strategic reserve units, they can be wholly set up within 6 inches of any battlefield edge. However, they cannot be set up within the enemy deployment zone. Now, when you are setting up strategic reserves from battle round 3 onwards, however, they just have to be set up wholly within 6 inches of any battlefield edge, meaning that they can be in the opponent's deployment zone at that time. Now, in addition to any restrictions, depending on the battle round that you're bringing them on in, they also cannot be set up within 6 inches of any enemy units. And all other rules around being set up from reserves also apply when setting up strategic reserves. So that means if you're playing the delayed reserves mission rule and you have to roll a dice for your reserve units to come in, you do have to roll the dice for your strategic reserve units as well. That's actually it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a really short, sweet run through of the strategic reserve rules around having units in strategic reserve and how to bring them on to the battlefield during your game. Alrighty, everyone, that's actually going to be it for our strategic reserves video. It's a really concise section of the rules, which is great. And I hope it was really informative about how to utilize strategic reserves to gain tactical advantages and scoring opportunities during your games of Warhammer 40,000 10th edition. Now, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave it with a like. If you have any feedback or any questions around strategic reserves, feel free to ask down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed our content and you want to catch more from us here at the ATWN, feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you're able to be notified as to when we are releasing more content for the myriad of series that we do produce here on the network as well. And if you enjoy our content so much you want to financially contribute, feel free to check out our Ko-Fi page as well, where you can get some coaching sessions from myself if you wish, whether that's hobbying or organizing events and leagues and communities or painting as well. Or you can support us on a monthly basis or with a one-off tip as well. All of the membership benefits are actually fulfilled via our ATWN Discord as well, which you can find down in the description below. And if you do want to catch us when we are live, feel free to head over to Twitch. Follow us at the Australis TWN Twitch channel, where you can catch our tournament coverage, hobbying sessions, ITC South Pacific snapshots, tournament previews, and much more content over on the live streams each week. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.